all of us. I am LJB AMARAN.
I am Christel Pizaña.
Last but not the least, I'm one and only FERNANDEZ.
And we are the reporters of the Chapter 10, entitled Statistics and Computer Tools for Analyzing our Assessment Data.
Ang mapagpalang umaga po sa ating lahat. Ako po si Binibining LJB AMARAN at ngayon ating tatalakayin ang Chapter 10 na ito ay tungkol sa Statistics and Computer Tools for Analyzing of Assessment of Data. Ito ay tungkol sa, or this refers to the use of statistical methods and computer software, like for example Excel, to collect, organize, and analyze and interpret data for informed decision making. Statistics, concerned with the organization, analysis, and interpretation of test scores and other numerical data. Statistical techniques help teachers. So ito yung mga techniques na maaaring makatulong sa mga guro. Una, analyze and describe results of measurement obtained in their own classroom. Bawa, ang guro ay gumagamit ng statistics upang malaman ang pagtaas ng grado o marka ng mga estudyante sa paglipas ng buwan. Second, understand the statistics used in test manuals and research reports. Bawa nito, ang guro ay gumagamit or nag-aaral ng statistics upang maunawaan ang mga datos na ulat o ng pagsusulit ng mga estudyante. Last one is interpret the various types of derived scores used in assessment. Ito na ang guro ay nag-i-interpret ng mga grado o marka ng mga estudyante sa pagtatasa upang malaman ang pagbabago sa kanilang pag-aaral. Let's talk about the descriptive and inferential statistics. It is used to describe a group of individuals or describe the data that have been collected to describe variables that were grouped in order to determine the measure of certain dependent variable that needs to be measured. When we say descriptive statistics, it is to describe and summarizes data using measures of central tendency, the mean, median, and variability, the range, variance, providing an overview of the data's characteristics. Such indices are calculated using samples drawn from a population and are called statistics. On the other hand, when indices are calculated using the entire population, it is called parameter. In inferential statistics, it is when there is a need to make a decision, estimate prediction, or generalize about a population based on a sample, then inferential statistics will be utilized. We say inferential statistics, it makes conclusions or predictions about a population based on a sample of data using techniques such as hypothesis testing and confidence intervals to draw inferences. Two types of inferential statistics. The first one is parametric and the second one is non-parametric. Let's move to the statistical tools. It is the comparison among sets of test scores. Measures of central tendency and measures of variability are the most commonly used statistical tools. There are three measures of central tendency. The first one is mean, the second one is median, and then the last one is mode. Say mean, ito yung ang average ng mga numero sa datos. Mean also, it is the most frequently used index of distribution's central tendency. It is simply an arithmetic average of all the scores in the distribution. Since it is computed using every score in the distribution, it is extremely representative measure. And then its strength is also its weakness because several atypically high or low scores, sometimes called liars, and then can distort the value of the mean. Yan, ito ay yung gitnang numero ng datos kapag inayos. At ang median rin, ito ay ang pangalawa na madalas na ginagamit sa central tendency. It is the point that divides the score into two halves. And then, one advantage of median as a measure of central tendency is that it is not unduly affected by particularly large or small scores. As the mean, the median strength is also its weakness. The median fails to reflect the magnitude of the impact of every score in the distribution even when certain of those scores are very high or very low. One is the mode. Ang mode, ito ay yung madalas na makikita natin sa isa numero. And then mode, it is the most frequently occurring score in the distribution. With most reasonably large set of scores, the mode will occur somewhere near the middle of the distribution. So it can also serve as an index of the distribution's central tendency. In some cases, a distribution has two or even three most frequently occurring scores. In such cases, statistician refers it is a bimodal or trimodal distribution. In some cases, a distribution has two or three most frequently occurring scores. In such cases, statistician referred as it a bimodal or trimodal distribution. Multimodal distribution refers to those who with three or more frequently occurring scores. The mode takes into account even fewer data than the median and fewer than the mean. It is not used often in describing a distribution's central tendency.
Good morning, everyone. By the way, my name is Christel Pizaña from BSED Filipino 2, the one to continue the report of Miss LJB AMARAN. So my topic for today is about measures of variability. Aside from describing how sets of scores tended the center of distribution, the information about variables scored are also important. It is also relevant to know how to spread out scores are. To know this, we have measures of variability. It is the range, the quartile deviation, and the standard deviation. The range is the most readily calculated index by distribution variability. It is calculated by subtracting the lowest score from the highest score. The simplicity of the range's computation is just the only redeeming virtue, because there are only two scores involved in the computation. If there is an abnormality highest and or lowest score, the resulting range will yield a misleading indication of the distribution's overall variability. The next one is the quartile deviation. It is based on the range of the middle 50% of the scores instead of the range of the entire set. Quartiles are points on the scale like the averages and percentiles. The quartile deviation represents a distance on the scale. It indicates the distance that is necessary to go above and below the median to include approximately the middle 50% of the scores. The next one is a standard deviation. It offers a way of thinking about the average variability of a set of scores when they compute the mean. It tells the average distance from the mean for each of the scores in the distribution. The more spread of the scores are, the larger the value of the standard deviation, and the less spread out of the scores, the smaller the standard deviation is. So, aside from measures of central tendency and measures of variability, here is another group of standard score that we can be used in assessment. These are the z-score, the t-score, and the stanins. So the first one is the simplest of the standard scores and the one on which others are based. It is the z-score. So it expresses test performance simply and directly as the number of standard deviation units a row score is above or below the mean. A z-score is always negative when the row score is smaller than the mean. Thus, z-score is seldom used directly in test norms but are transformed into a standard score system that uses only positive numbers. The t-score, it was originally given to a type of normalized score based on a group of unselected 12-year-old children. T-score is obtained by multiplying the z-score by 10 and adding the product to 50. This formula is true only when the original distribution of row scores is normal. The reason that t-scores is preferred to z-scores for reporting test result is that only positive integers are produced. The stanins. These are simple type of normalized standard score that illustrates the process of normalization. They are a single-digit scores ranging from 1 to 9. It is named as such because the distribution of row score is divided into 9 parts wherein stanin 5 is precisely the center of the distribution and includes all cases with 1/4 of standard deviation none on either side of the mean. The major strengths and stanins are the following. The stanin system uses a 9-point scale in which 9 is high, 1 is low, and 5 is average. Stanins are normalized standard scores that make it possible to compare students' performance on various assessments. Note that a standard score has also shortcomings. Its shortcomings include students and the parents find it difficult to understand, and interpretation of it is difficult unless the scores are evenly distributed. We have kind of indicators and relationship in describing the relationship of scores in different subject areas. These are the graphic presentation, the product moment correlation or R, and the rank order coefficient or RS. The first one is the graphic presentation. By using graphic display techniques, the relationship between two variables can be described according to its magnitude if it is strong or weak, and its direction if it is positive or negative. The next one is the product moment correlation. It is popularly known as Pearson correlation coefficient, named after the English statistician Karl Pearson. Widely used indicator or the magnitude and direction of the relationship between two variables. The next one is the rank order correlation coefficient. Is another technique for estimating the magnitude and direction of the relationship between two variables. This technique was introduced by Sir Charles Spearman. Spearman's correlation coefficient or RS is interpreted in essentially the same way as a Pearson product moment or R, but simpler to compute. Aside from its computational simplicity, it may be used with data that represent only an ordinal scale and not necessarily an interval. There are also measurement scales used for education. It is interval scales, ratio scales, and ordinal scales. The first one is interval scales, one that allows you to believe that there are equal intervals that are equidistant points on the scale. The next one is the ratio scale. It is an interval scale for which a 0 point exists. The next one is the ordinal scale. It is based in rank. In the previous discussion, fundamental concepts of statistics and statistical tool is used for different statistical method were discussed. Now let's explore simple computation of statistical treatment with emphasis on the usage of computer and software such as MS Excel. So, MS Excel is a software developed by Microsoft to make computation more efficient and less prone to error. So, computer aid in statistical computing and data presentation. So, the next topic of this chapter will be reported by my co-reporter Jerome Fernandez. So he will be the one to continue until the last topic of this chapter. Thank you and God bless.
Opening the MS Excel program. First you need to do is click the icon of MS Excel, or if not available, click the start button to choose all programs and double click on the MS Excel to open the program. The initial window that will appear on if you're using the latest version of MS Excel, simply click, pindutin nyo lang po ang blank document option. If you have a previous created file to work on, then simply double click open other worksheet. Second you need to do, once a worksheet has been opened, it is now ready for data entry. You may now encode the scores or data of your student that will be processed. The worksheet is like this. Makikita nyo sa larawan, ganito yung gawin. This part is, as you can see at the picture, that is chart frequency distribution. The table below contains the grids of grade 10 student in the mathematics and English subject. The first column is the student class number. Second column is the math grades, and the third one is the English grades. As you can see, the picture is have sunod-sunod. Una yung pinakamataas hanggang pababa. As you can see in the picture, using the encode data, it may be converted into charts or diagram. As you can see, that was called a scatter diagram. Scatter, katong ginadula ba? A scatter diagram was created by using the insert chart function of MS Excel. It details tip on how to have scatter diagram are as follow. As you can see at the picture, first is you need to click the insert tab, then among the chart option, choose insert scatter. As you can see, you can, in the circle below in the picture, you can click the insert tab. Note that other types of chart may be chosen based on performance of the user on how they would want to present their data. In bar graphs, it can be present their data by bar graphs, pie charts, line graphs, etc. are just some of the charts available and can be utilized. As you can see that before you ano the mga grado is you need to follow the step. First is you need to highest grade by to down grade. As you can see in the chart, picture, computing, this is the computing of measurement of central tendency, variability, and correlation. Statistical functions is available in MS Excel. You can click the formula tab, and the different available formulae logically organized will be displayed. You can kailangan mo lang ay pumunta sa Excel at click the formulas tab, and different available formulae logically organized will be displayed. You can choose the more function and icon, then choose statistical or several statistical formulae are provided on the list. For the mean, the function average will be used. As you can see the picture, in the circle picture is you can see the formula tab and the different available formula logically. You can use what it is As you can see at the picture, sorry for the background music or a yo-yo. As you can see in the picture, for example, this is the example of, for example, for the mean, choose average from the list. Once you click the function average, the following screen will be displayed. So you can see the picture, you can see that this is the following. As you can see in the picture, if you once you click the function average, the following screen will be displayed. As you can see the picture or example, that was the example. In the summary, fill in the required fields to indicate which among the encoded data will be considered in the computation of the mean. Press OK and automatically the mean will be computed and placed on the space where you indicate to the place the result. For this case, the ones enclosed with rounded edge box. So guys, similar step shall be followed for the other statistical formulae, such as standard deviation or STDAV, median and median, mode range, person to encode the necessary information such as a raw data that will be included in those processing computation. Not at all may be available in MS Excel. Nevertheless, majority of those statistical computation are. In older version of MS Excel, the statistical formulae are not available. Instead of the most the formulae are packaged all together and displayed into a single table containing the computed values. This is the package under descriptive statistical function. Statistical summary. The information contained in the package function consists of the following: mean, median, mode, standard deviation, simple variance, kurtosis, skewness, range, minimum, maximum, sum, and count. Another software that was really designed to support statistical computation is the SPSS, statistical, or it can say that statistical package for social science, which has involved into statistical product and service solution, or the statistical formulae are available in the software. In summary, ang MS Excel at SPSS ay ginagamit sa statistic computation. Sa Excel ay may mga formula tulad ng mean, median, and standard deviation, pati na rin ang descriptive statistic. Ang SPSS naman ay mas detalyado at kompleto para sa mas malalim na pagsusuri. Inasahan ng mga mas okay gamitin yung SPSS kasi detalyado na at kompleto pa rin